I love the physical life. I mean, I feel like it makes it more real, and I could do that stuff all day long. Today I got to fly on a broom. When in my life am I ever gonna get to do that? Today I got to do that.
I loved how we all had our own broom, like we all had our own vibe.
Why haven't we been doing this all along?
And again, it's like my character isn't really scared, so I'm kind of just having a blast, laughing, cackling, just like almost like I was on a roller coaster or something.
It reminds me of those Star Wars rides at Disney World where it's like you're in a container and you're being jostled around.
It looked great.
Okay, good.
You know, everybody knows how old I am, so they're going, "Are you okay, Patty?" I was like, "Yeah."
I'm never coming down.
You know, I'm from the stage, so I was prepared. How's it feel?
I'm so excited.
I felt like I was like 7 years old. The first time I was up, I started just uncontrollably laughing, which doesn't work, obviously. So then I had to really center it. You feel like you're flying. It's so, and they have the best stunt team in the world. No offense to other stunt teams, I'm sure they're amazing, but I have a bias.
So this is the cabin, and this is Agatha's trial. This is the spirit trial. So this is actually our 80s nod to like Poltergeist and all of like the slasher horror films.
The cabin is actually one of my personal favorites. Growing up and being a kid in the 70s and 80s, as we started to bring the set dressing in, it was like, oh, I remember having this, I remember having that.
I was finding things that I had when I was a kid.
I guess, sorry, hold the roll
Dude,
real quick.
all of those VHSs.
There was an entire collection of cassette tapes, so I was just in between setups, just finding different albums. It's so tangible. There was just so much to look at and touch and play with.
The trial in the cabin is the air trial. So we were very cognizant of needing that height up above for, you know, the flying ghost Evanora and Agatha up in the air and here.
Agatha's mother possesses Agatha, and then she lets the coven know that the way that they win this trial is to actually leave Agatha behind, and they're ready to do it.
Don't leave me with her!
Until Agatha actually gets possessed again and steals Alice's power.
After Agatha kills Alice, the power dynamic shifts.
Don't touch her! She was protecting you. But you don't deserve it.
This is the turn for Teen. This is the switch in his character.
You wanted her power. That's what this has always been about for you, isn't it?
Of course it is. That's what all of this is about.
His teenage hormones take over and he can't control his power. He doesn't know he has this ability.
This is a character whose identity is hidden in every corner of the show until it's ultimately revealed that he is the son of the Scarlet Witch reincarnate. He is Billy Maximoff, who found his way into the body of William Kaplan.
I died that night. I know I did. Since when I woke up, I was different. I was something else. Something more.
On our show, we're telling the origin story of two characters, of both Billy and Agatha.
What were you after?
The Witch's Road is what I'm after.
What it does is give us an understanding of the spectrums through which these characters exist. It's not just bad guys being bad guys. It's actually understanding what trauma, what pain, how we build these shells in order to protect our softer core.
My name is William Kaplan. We did it pretty much in order, so we filmed the 13-year-old scenes and then we filmed the car crash and the death. I found when we were filming the scene where they come back from the hospital, when I read it, I thought, oh, that's sad, but he's Billy now, so it's quite cool. And then when we did it, I was like, God, this is like really heartbreaking.
Just give me my son back.
Stop worrying!
I think that Joe has done a really incredible job in being able to tell that story of a 13-year-old who dies and then is inhabited by another soul, and then having to figure out his identity.
He doesn't know who he is, more than just like not knowing his name, not knowing if he is Billy Maximoff or if he is William Kaplan. And then I think he goes on this journey to figure out that he can be both. Coming into his power is a big part of that. And I think that's really nice in the relationship between him and Agatha.
It's nice to see you again. Billy.
You can hear me now.
Every witch with a beating heart can hear you now. Let's go find the next trial.
The final trial that we are shooting is the castle trial. It's an amazing set.
As in the other trials, they always have this ticking clock that gives them a timeline that they have to get this task done by. So in the castle, that is an entire ceiling that we are practically lowering that's covered in swords. So not only are swords falling periodically, but the entire ceiling itself is slowly lowering as the trial goes on.
The ceiling itself is rigged against a counterweight system so that we can lower the ceiling up and down by using this hydraulic ram here to literally, we're pulling the ceiling down into the shot so that if there were any failure here or release, the counterweights would cause it to go up. It's been engineered in reverse, kind of counterintuitive, but in a way that makes it much safer.
Hey, things are looking up.
Oh my God.
The castle has gone through a few iterations since I started. It started out more of like a medieval, dark, stony, typical castle. And as we've developed it, it's kind of become a more playful version of the castle. It's more Disney princess feel to it.
Classic.
Oh, she's based on me, you know.
The castle costumes were really exciting and also a bit challenging because these are characters that the world has known for many, many years, and they are beloved characters, celebrated. It's like hallowed ground, you know, with the Wicked Witch of the West. I felt both honored and a little trepidatious about how to design this. You know, we wanted to pay our respects to the original costume in the film. It had to be black. We wanted to bring in some of Agatha's purple, but we made our own touches, you know. We brought in this sort of like crinkly buckle and the hat is tilted. She's got these little bird skulls as her buttons. And so it was important that we knew that she was Agatha, but she was having fun playing the Wicked Witch of the West.
You seem pleased with your look.
Well, if the cheekbones fit.
It's so important to inform the actors with a full experience that they really feel like they're stepping into the character by putting on these things where every inch of it has been considered. For instance, this Maleficent costume, there's a lot of understructure here that sort of cinches him in. And I think what that does for Joe is it gives him that sense of power.
You're being truthful. Well, that can't be right.
Jennifer Kale in the castle is sort of demoted in some ways to play the Crone Witch. We wanted to have something that felt sort of like burlap, like she'd been bedraggled, and we've made this rope belt and this large fantasy hood, and then these sleeves, you know, which are long and sort of have a lot of drama, and she will have to sort of drag herself around.
What are you wearing?
I don't want to talk about it.
What am I wearing? This is so demeaning.
Hey, focus up, Calderoo. We can be culturally offended later.
This is Lilia Calderoo as Glinda the Good Witch. We knew that we wanted to have a poofy skirt, so there's many, many layers underneath this skirt. What I like about this trial is that it is revealed to Lilia who she truly is, and that is that she's the Queen of Cups. And the Queen of Cups tarot is usually drawn where she's sitting on a throne at the shoreline. And so I wanted to bring in this sort of themes of pearls and pearlescent and the sea. We couldn't see her traveling in a bubble, but we could feel it in the costume.
Your coven is shrinking. First Alice, now Lilia. The bodies are really piling up.
We didn't want the show to be soft. Agatha is a complex villain, and so for her story, we needed real death. Death is a big thematic element to the show.
In the end, all roads lead to me.
Today we're filming the final battle, which we've been planning for a very long time. And this is where Agatha has emerged from the final trial, and she is faced with Rio, death, waiting for her.
I was thinking death by 1,000 cuts.
We're doing an alternate approach to a final battle. I think the classical Marvel final battle has been maybe a bit more full of blasts and explosions, and this is much more grounded because we are here in a backyard, but the stakes are just as high.
You're calling me evil? I am the natural order of all things.
This is, I guess, the most extreme breakup scene you'll have ever seen.
Why don't you want me?